Hello everyone, we are here in RAAONLINE lecture series on neurophysiology. Today we will be seeing about autonomic nervous system. So these are the learning objectives of today's session. We will be seeing about the introduction of autonomic nervous system and how it differs from somatic nervous system. We will see about the organization of the autonomic nervous system and its divisions, sympathetic and parasympathetic divisions of autonomic nervous system, its chemical transmission, receptors, metabolism, functions, that is general as well as organ specific functions of different divisions, and finally we'll have an idea about enteric nervous system, which is also a peripheral nervous system part. As we know, the nervous system is composed of central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system includes the brain and the spinal cord. The peripheral nervous system, again it is divided into autonomic nervous system and the somatic nervous system. This autonomic nervous system communicates with the internal organs and the glands, whereas the somatic nervous system communicates with the sensory organs and the voluntary muscles. Okay, so the autonomic nervous system again is classified into sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is responsible for keeping our body in an alert and aroused state, whereas the parasympathetic system is responsible for calming of our body. Somatic nervous system is again classified into sensory system and motor system. Sensory system is otherwise called as afferent system, which is responsible for carrying different sensations to the brain, and motor system is also called as efferent system, which is actually giving all the commands as a result of this sensory stimulation. So that is about the nervous system organization in general, and we'll see the difference between the somatic and the autonomic nervous system. The somatic nervous system is a one neuron system. That means the nerve fiber, it starts from the central nervous system and ends in the skeletal muscles. Of course, there are synapses in between, okay? Whereas the autonomic nervous system is a two neuron system. It has got a preganglionic neuron and postganglionic neuron. So after its origin from the spinal cord, it ends in another structure called as ganglion, and preganglionic neuron and postganglionic neuron depends upon the presence of the ganglion. Effector organ for the somatic nervous system is the skeletal muscle, whereas for the autonomic nervous system it is a smooth muscle, cardiac muscle or glands. There are no subdivisions in somatic nervous system, whereas autonomic nervous system has got two different subdivisions, that is sympathetic nervous system as well as parasympathetic nervous system. Both are different in functions. The neurotransmitter in the somatic nervous system is the acetylcholine. Okay, whereas here the neurotransmitters are either acetylcholine or norepinephrine, or sometimes epinephrine is also seen. Most of the functions of autonomic nervous system is involved in maintaining certain visceral reflexes. Okay, so for any reflex there should be a reflex arc which includes the afferent, center and the efferent. Okay, so the afferent for autonomic nervous system reflexes comes from the dorsal root ganglion in case of a spinal sensory nerve, or the sensory ganglion of the cranial nerve. And for example, the sympathetic nerve are responsible for carrying the pain sensation, whereas the parasympathetic nerves are responsible for mediating many visceral reflexes. So all these are afferent nerves. The center for integration of this autonomic nerve reflexes the brainstem or the spinal cord, and the efferent goes to smooth muscles and the glands in a majority of instances. So this is one example of reflex arc for an autonomic nervous system. For example, this is an viscera. Okay, so it looks like a layer of the GI wall. Okay, so the afferent nerve fiber may be a distension. The sensation is distension that is carried by the afferent nerve fiber like this. Okay, and it goes to a prevertebral ganglion and to the paravertebral ganglion, and from there it goes to the dorsal root ganglion here. Okay, distension is a mechanoreceptor sensed by the distension is sensed by the mechanoreceptor, and it goes to the dorsal root ganglion, and via the dorsal root it enters the spinal cord, and you can see there is a small projection here, the intermediolateral column. Okay, from there the efferent nerve fiber arises and it goes to the ventral root and it enters the paravertebral ganglion and then the prevertebral ganglion. It may synapse in the prevertebral ganglion, and from there the final neuron or the effector neuron reaches the sense organ. So this is the reflex arc for the autonomic nervous system. So the autonomic neuron specifically we just saw that it is a 2 neuron system. Okay, so from the origin in the central nervous system, that is the brain and the spinal cord, from it originates. It is called as preganglionic neuron, and in between you have got a peripheral ganglion. Okay, mostly the paravertebral ganglion, and from the paravertebral ganglion a postganglionic neuron arises and it reaches the target cell.